Hail, hail, boys and girls, the Celts are here. Sorry for the wee momentary delay in coming on. I've been fighting the most brutal kind of neck headache type thing, and I just wasn't really in fighting shape to fire the camera on and get going. We've got a massive collab out on the channel tomorrow morning, so look forward to that. Thanks for all the support, by the way. The channel has been absolutely popping. We dropped a St Mirren analysis video this morning, and I just thought it was just going to die. You know, no one was going to watch it or care about it. But a lot of you guys have tuned into it. I've not even managed to get through the comments yet, even from just dropping that this morning. So thanks to everyone, sincerely, that did tune into that, because yeah, I really expected no one to pay any interest to it. And for me, it was just for a bit of continuity purposes, because here on the channel, I do like to think that the way that we discuss the tactics of players and the way the matches develop, you know, we're kind of there's a kind of narrative of the season. There's a kind of story. There's an arc, you know, of what's going on with, especially this year. There's a lot of arcs that are going on, and it wouldn't have felt right to not do that video, because anything that in this video and any other videos I would want to reference from that game, I always like to have it to go back to if required, you know. So thanks everyone that tuned in. Thanks everyone that left a comment. I'll do my best to get through the rest of them. Thanks to everyone that's here live and loud. We didn't even really schedule this one. And again, I really wanted to put something out today as a preview for Dundee United, but wasn't feeling too great and didn't really know what to do. And time is against us. The fixture, the list, the schedule, even for the channel right now, is really into overdrive. But we had a press conference today from Wilfried Nancy, which was fantastic. Now, as you can see, I've got to 10 minutes in, and then yeah, had other stuff to do. Yada. Here we are right now. So I'm going to go back to the beginning so we can all get caught up together. But then from here on in, it'll be like first reaction stuff. I've got no idea what he says in the opening 10 minutes. I'm not even too sure there was anything specifically to drill into, but I do know that the opening, we could probably even just skip the opening 2 minutes, because the opening 2 minutes is the little clip that's on Twitter. So even if I just check how long that little Twitter clip is, I'll just save us some time and I'll jump ahead of that, because I'm sure you've all seen that by now and everyone's probably spoke about it. I didn't really think it was a bad, excuse me. He did say that he thought the second half wasn't that bad or something, and I thought, oh, that's maybe a bit lost in translation, perhaps, and a little slip of the tongue, perhaps. But yeah, while I'm doing that, as I say, there's a bunch of you here. Thanks to everyone that's tuning in. Please do hit the like button, hype, get into the chat, and let us know how you're feeling. I know there's not a lot of hype going around Celtic Park, so maybe Celts are here. I can get a bit of that hype, and together we can kind of console one another, and we can get up to speed with it. So 2 minutes 5 is the Sky Sports clip that's kind of all over social media, so we can probably just jump to that part and then go from there. Because we've all heard that, I don't need to prove anything element of the press conference to start off with. And do you know, this Wilfried Nancy, I said the same thing about Martin O'Neill. When Martin O'Neill first came in, especially on arrival, I was there for the press conference. It was still very much in that retired football professional headspace, demeanor, you know, whatever. And I think it was by the time we were playing Kilmarnock at home, I think it might have been, he did the pre-match press conference in a suit. He had the game face on. He kind of looked a couple of inches taller all of a sudden, and it kind of felt like fighting shape, you know, ready to go. Martin O'Neill was back. And, you know, there's a lot of Martin O'Neill chat you can go, and you can even see it's on my suggested here from YouTube for him. So I think he's probably talked himself out of it. It's probably how he's actually now reflecting upon it. Make no mistake about it. But Wilfried Nancy, I think, has kind of went through a similar transformation. We spoke about here on the channel how, when those initial comments of, I don't know a competitor that doesn't want to win, that's just that kind of, for me, told me everything about any worries and fears I had about. And you know, again, I totally get it. I'm not like a Nancy cheerleader or anything like that. You know, I did have him in my top 5. I stand by everything. You know, I like the appointment. I want to see it work out or whatever. But I'm a Celtic fan just like you guys. And the biggest thing I was trying to highlight on this channel, we've spoken about it quite a lot recently, but the number one unknown element is making that step. And different people are in different positions. And, you know, sometimes it's a step up, sometimes it's horizontal, sometimes it's maybe a step down in trip and class, depending on who we're talking about here precisely. But when he comes in straight away and says, I don't know a competitor that likes to lose, coming from a level, and Opta rankings, whatever, right? But in my mind, in terms of competitive edge, coming from a level below, prestige and everything else, history, level below. So I kind of felt, and now there's a little bit of, I'm hearing whispers and chats of people saying, is he arrogant and this and that? And who knows behind closed doors on the training pitch? I can't speak to any of that. But in my life experience, me and McBride, we were live on the channel. Again, a lot of you caught that. We had a fantastic response to that as well. Again, thanks to everyone that did catch that. We were having a wee joke before we came on, because of all the fantasy football stuff that we deal with. The company's based in France, and there's a few other things that me and McBride have kind of crossed paths with that's also originated from Europe, from France and Paris in particular. And I not to use a stereotype or anything like that, but in my experience of French people, it's very easy to misunderstand them as arrogant. Like I don't think that's a new phenomenon kind of thing. So you know, in the first 2 minutes, I like the fact he looks more like the Wilfried Nancy that we've seen in Columbus Crew clips, where he's standing up for what he believes in. He's been quite strong and resolute. And now he's not really got a leg to stand on is his problem, because he's 3 games in, 3 competitions, 3 losses. We all know the situation. We all know the predicament. So it's a bit different where he's at right now. But I like the fact that this is the sort of demeanor of kind of how he's carrying it. It's down to business. So there's no effing about. Because when he first came in, the whole I don't know a competitor that doesn't like to lose thing to one side. A lot of the initial chat, again, I hate to say that, I won't even say his name, right? But the last time we made an appointment similar to this, right? I think a big reason for why everyone resonated and got on board very quickly is you knew that person got Celtic, got it, got it. Knew that not only was this a move into Europe, which is a massive goal for any manager out with, but it was also like a jackpot move potentially where success could lead you anywhere and everywhere. And that man kind of went on to lead that. He kind of trotted that path up to this point, I suppose, didn't he? Whereas when Nancy incoming, yeah, he knows the size of Celtic. Yeah, he was born and raised in France. He'll be very aware of Celtic playing in Europe and beating teams and a formidable home support. He'll be just as aware as Celtic as Paulo Bernardo was when we signed him from Benfica, or Arne Engels, or anyone you want to think about that's from Europe. He'll get it to that extent. But it's sorry, where was I going with that? I beg your pardon. It was on arrival. Oh yeah, and so he's also just came from America, and a lot of the chat over there, as you know from the stuff you've seen of him before he came to Celtic, it's America. It's all about selling the dream. It's all about living the life and shooting your shot, and going for glory, and you're never down till you're out. Underdogs always win, and or underdogs have their day, and all that kind of stuff. Which goes around it. And I think if you're coming out of America thinking you're moving to Celtic, big club, Europe, winning stuff, Champions League, but in Scotland, big fish in a small pond and everything that goes along with that. I think he's coming from a bit of a culture shock in some ways. And I think the culture shock element of who knows what's going on with the players and stuff. I'm very eager to get into the chat. I've barely managed to keep up with it so far, but good to see you all here. But is it not even the Americanisms that we've seen from American managers that have come into Europe before? Let's talking about PKs and what's the field, and all the other kind of Americanisms that they use to one side, but just the general pop and step of everything is totally different to how it is in Scotland. And you can imagine, particularly, especially, you got to think about the squad that's actually there right now, going from Rogers O'Neill to that, especially his first, let's call it 48 hours, might have just been a bit of a... Anyway, so I feel for me looking at him here now, it feels like that's kind of, that's kind of evaporated away from him, if you like. And he's maybe now a bit more present and a bit more focused on, in his mind, this is the Man United job. In his mind, this is, there's not that many clubs where this level of scrutiny is just the given. It's just par for the course. And sorry, I want to catch up with the chat because I'm sure these are coming at me with some stuff or wanting to add in some insight into what we're talking about. Nancy isn't official. Yeah, now that's a great point, by the way. And I was saying that to Paul John on Monday, but they've still not unveiled him yet. This is the second league press conference we've had for him, and still not really officially been unveiled, which is crazy. We'll have a look at the squad as well, but we'll go through the press conference and see what he's saying to it. But just to speak on the first kind of 2 minutes of it, not that something amazing's happened or anything, but you know, I'm glad he's still not totally in human connections. Let's call it.
It's true that for you cannot see it because you are not with me. But for me, why I'm really confident is because I can see every day something really interesting and many things really interesting. And this is a step by step. We're going to go towards what I would like to do. Yes.
Wilfried, you said that you knew there could be adversity when you came in. Did you envisage that it could be this?
This is a great question, by the way, and I love his answer. We'll come to
tough.
Yes, because I am a pragmatic guy. My background has been like that in terms of face adversity, and also I've learned to be confident, but also humble. So that's why I knew that this possibility could happen. And again, I'm not the first guy. It happens to many coaches and so on, and also the best coach. And this is part of the job. That's why we study for that. That's why I try to be to detach myself from that. And yeah, that's it.
You talked after the game on Sunday about.
Sunday said in here, where is it? Now, I don't want to. I think you can speak some things into existence, right? So I don't even want to utter it, right? You can read it on screen, and there's other parallels we can draw with other things. You know, we could do that all day till we're blue in the face. I think you can, as I say, speak that kind of thing into existence, and I'm not all about that. The difference I would say though is Wilfried Nancy has like won stuff, you know, and so that he's got a different experience on like taking something to completion, you know, in terms of actually like dominating stuff, winning competitions, completing big important matches, do or die moments. Nah, see, I'm not really, I'm not. It might be the case, but I'm not there right now. Like, where are we? 3 minutes in, I'm not there. Like, nah, might change. Maybe you've seen it all, but 3 minutes in, I'm not there.
Some self-doubt that your players have. Have you spoken to them about that, and what needs to change to give them less self-doubt in the match?
No, self-doubt for me is normal as a human being when you want to succeed. If you don't have self-doubt, it's because you are not true to yourself. So after that, the idea is to compete with the self-doubt. And for me, this is the message that I had with them, because I know that they can do really well. The first half was really interesting. I think that we should have scored more goals. And after that, the second half was not bad, but we didn't execute the same way we did it in first half because of us.
So hearing that now for the second time, like, I think he's talking in an attacking sense, like in terms of like building the shape. You can't be talking about defending. I think we know that. He's talking about it, taking chances, scoring goals. So I think that's maybe the sort of line he's driving on that one. Yeah, exactly. A win tomorrow, I think, changes everything very quickly. Like, everything changes so quickly. Like, the next two games are undoubtedly, like, if he doesn't win the next two, it's game over. Thanks for coming, I think, you know. But if he does win the next two, I think he's, you know, he's buying time, you know, which is good. You know, how much time is a conversation we'll have if we ever cross, if that's the bridge that we cross. And then, you know, when you build draws into it, like, it gets a bit murky. So I say we'll kind of touch on all that stuff as we get to it. But yeah, I'd love to see us win tomorrow. And I say, I think we've got every chance of doing it. A lot's been made about Jim Goodwin, like, being on TV duty for the game or whatever. And fair enough, they get a pretty good viewing spot from that gantry they've got. But I don't think that gives them any sort of distinct advantage on just watching the game anyway from any other seat he could have possibly taken at home or otherwise. And yeah, Dundee United or whatever, we'll get to them in due course. But that just seems deluded. What are we talking about there? Sorry. Paul Tisdale should take himself. Hope for Texter say find their level. Is that League One? Is that League One? Oh, by the way, there's definitely some parody jokes to be had there, isn't there? The League One chat. Oh golly. We need to win tomorrow. Yeah, I think it is. I think Nancy feels that too. Wow. It can't be that bad, is it? Fair enough. I always feel St Mirren have run us close. This chat about self-doubt and the player is it being normal again. Like, I don't mind it. Yeah.
Again, with a lot of humility because of us, because I think that we could have done something better. But at the same time, I understand them. New coach, new way of doing things, new stuff. Not a lot of time. But again, I'm really, really positive because they understand the situation. Obviously, we're not happy to lose games, and but again, the most important is to work every day and to be better.
Wilfried, you said that you don't have anything to prove to anybody. Some might suggest after 3
This is a great question, by the way. Absolute gloves off.
straight defeats, you do have stuff to prove. Why do you feel you don't have
No, understand me well. As a coach, your job is to win games. So I know that. So myself already is really the pressure that I put on myself to help my players to be good. Nobody else can put more pressure on me. Now, the fans, the people, you guys, media, I don't have results. So this is normal that you're gonna doubt on me. But this, I cannot do anything because I try to do my best and I want to do my best. And after that, it's about time. So what I say, I don't have to prove anything to anybody is because the only thing that I have to prove is to be good with my players on the pitch, to help them to have good performance and to win games. This is the most important. And after that, if we're able to do that, naturally, the doubt that people have on me.
So where's the ego part coming in? Like, I'm not disagreeing with you, but has he said something that's got you to say that? Like right now? Like, I'm just curious.
It's going to be different. But this, I cannot do anything with that. And obviously, I will not tell you that I'm happy for that. I am a human being. So obviously, I would like that everything goes well. I would like that everybody likes me. I would like that. But this, I cannot control it. So the most important, like I told my player, yes, we want to win games, but give your best. And by giving your best, you're going to be able to maybe to maximize your chance to win. And this is something that it applies for me too. So that's why I understand your question. I'm not saying that I don't care about people say. I'm saying that I need to be good with myself first and to be coherent with my players. And after that, we'll see.
I don't think that's, a bad way to look at it. Not proving anything to anyone else. I need to focus on me, focus on the task at hand. Being coherent, quite coherent with the players. I like that. I don't know. The question was about him and not the team.
Do you shield yourself from what people say on the outside? Do you disassociate with that?
Yes, because again,
he already said when he got appointed, like, he turns everything off, and I think his assistant manager, I think it's probably Kwame Ampadu that's subscribed to Seltzer here. I don't think it will be Wilfried Nancy himself, or maybe like what he brought other two people. One of them was a scout, and one of them was like maybe a physio guy or something. So maybe it's one of them. Maybe all of them are subscribed to the channel. Fist bumps to you all, by the way. Thanks for tuning in. And but yeah, he doesn't pay attention to anything. And that's probably a very sound strategy. Yeah, love is earned as a Celtic manager. I don't think anyone is freely giving away carte blanche here, Guetta. I'm just asking. That was all.
This is part of the job. Understand me well. I'm not saying that I have a, how can I say that in English? I have a, protection, then I'm invincible. No, I am a human being. We all have emotions. But I decided to go this way to protect myself. Simple as that. Because like I said in the beginning, everybody can talk in our job. And I respect that. Because this is your job to criticize me and sometimes to do good things. And I know that. So that's why for me, I don't like to waste time on that. The only thing that I know is I receive a lot of messages from my family to ask me if I'm okay. So it means that maybe I get killed, but it's okay.
That must be helpful for you at a tricky time that you get support from your family.
I think he said maybe he gets killed. I know. I say, it's one of those ones. And again, I think he's been quite clear, isn't it? It's like, it's not about worrying about opinions and papers and all the rest of it. It's about focusing on just get the football ticking, Yeah, I think everyone knows what he was doing coming into it, I don't think it does. I think he is an anchor around our ankles, Maybe that's not the example, but something that's like holding them back, but it has the potential to lift them up. It wouldn't be an anchor, of course, because you couldn't get some sort of anchor that could become instantly inflatable or something, or a flotation device. So it must be something. You guys can help me out with that one. What would the thing be? It could bring you down, or it could send you up. What's the thing? Help me out here. But no, I don't think he's an out for anything, because again, I said this again. I'll be out tomorrow. The club that we've got lined up. I'm pretty sure I said it on Monday, but if Nancy is to go, there's no chance in a month of Sundays he goes by himself in that regard. As it happens all across football, it wouldn't be anything unusual. It would happen in any other business that had himself in this situation. And Celtic really, in all dimensions, really shouldn't act any differently. Should that kind of thing happen? Yeah, well, as for as much as we do like to look everywhere and say the grass is greener in other places, like, it's not completely. No one has. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and the line that was used was nobody gets a royal flush in life, and that's just kind of the case, isn't it? There's always something wrong with something at some point. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Media mushroom. I like that comment. I'm kind of I have a sympathy for him also, and I do think he's underestimated the job. I also do think, though, like, again, I hate to sound or potentially look as if I'm coming across as being just blindly, like, just whatever, right? He's going to get to it when it comes out. But in all seriousness, whoever is in the background of organizing all this stuff, there is a real underestimation of what is required at every level. And I have a lot of fun on the channel. We do lots of cool stuff here. I like to think so anyway. I have a lot of fun. You guys seem to have a lot of fun. And we like to have some good and funny jokes. I even applied to a job, obviously, right? But part of the reason I wouldn't even joke about being the Celtic manager or anything like that is it is just unimaginable how hard it would be, in so many ways. It's not even worth joking about, it's one of those things. But when it comes, and part of it is as well is like that for me is the hardest thing to do in any role you could have at Celtic. The toughest thing would be is IDing players that can do it, managers that could do it. That is the single hardest thing, I think, in being involved in Celtic. It's a thing, even if you think about youth players, loans, all sorts of stuff, because there's football and then there's the stuff that just data doesn't capture, that really does live in Scottish football in particular, as well as Celtic. So yeah, I think there's an underestimation there, but I do think a big part, let's see that whole, honestly, I'll never shake that. The whole, I don't know a competitor that doesn't like to win. Like, someone has to be in his ear, like, before he's like, because I just know I would be like, don't try and say, if you get told about the pressure, the speculation, you cannot pretend to understand. You're going to find out is the bottom line. You're prepared, or you're trying to be prepared, and you'll take it head on. Is kind of I think the only thing you can kind of say. Especially never having been involved in it, and I don't want to be that guy again. But like as a player or something, where at least you've got that to draw upon, or an assistant coach or whatever. We get a wee bit of that, by the way. We get a wee bit of that in this. I think I got to 10 minutes. We're almost where I got to.
Yeah, but again, I told my family that it's gonna happen, because when you become a coach,
like, he is cognizant of this is going to, he is European. He did grow up in France, before he went abroad and all the rest of it. Like, he knows kinda, the script, But it's just, like I said on the streams, like, because when Nancy got appointed, we all spoke about it. What if he lost those 3 games? And I genuinely don't even remember what the kind of instant chat was back from that. Maybe it'd be worth checking out. But everyone knew it was a possibility. It even gets discussed in this press conference. But it's different living it. No matter what you felt, even if you went, if he loses the 3 of them, no big deal is to be expected. But then when you actually live through it, it's totally different. And I think, do you call that an underestimation from him, or he's not done his homework? Sometimes it's the same as football. Like training in a match, there's just no comparison between the two. So the kind of knowledge gap there, or the learning curve that he's got, I don't think you can put that on his shoulders as like lack of responsibility or dereliction of duty or something, you know. Personally.
And again, I'm not inventing stuff. We have good coaches, best coaches in the world. They have been also criticized because this is part of the job. So again, I'm not saying that I am invincible. I'm saying that I decided to focus on what I can control, and what I can control is what I do every day on the pitch with my players to get better with my players.
Have you received
Brilliant.
a similar support from people above you here at the club, like the chairman, the chief executive, and so on?
I am grateful. I'm going to stay polite, but I'm very grateful with the people that I work with.
I'm going to stay polite, but I'm very grateful for the people I am working with. Now, there's been rumours, murmurs, and whispers coming out of all the WhatsApp groups and all the ITKs and all the rest of it, of Stevie Woods' situation. Like, he's leaving, he's still there. He didn't looked at there's a wee bit of friction on the touchline with the substitutions and all that caper. I'm going to be polite, but, you know, leaves with a carte blanche, you know, default type sentence thereafter. So, and I think you can tell from the look on his face, like, that's the case. Now, it's one thing I've tried to also try and give the man a bit of leeway with is whoever's setting the corners up, whoever's had the opposition analysis been done, and the, you know, he cannot be responsible for that at this stage. Now, he's responsible for every decision. Of course, he's the manager of the team and all the rest of it, and he will be given, you must imagine, some sort of intel, presentation, data, suggestions, report, something per match. This is what they look like. This is what they do. And then he's making decisions thereafter. But some of the gaping, like, we all seen it. We don't need to rehash it. That has been allowed to unfold because, I don't know, man. I can only imagine there's a lot of bad information in the works now. He's still making the decisions. He's still pulling the strings, pushing the buttons, telling the players where to go. But you know, I would like to think if he has had more information, or the learning curve that we've been discussing already wasn't as sharp, or like whatever, then wouldn't have happened. You know, we spoke about it. You can check out the St Mirren breakdown. We've got some good footage, extended highlights, because St Mirren won it.
How can I say that? They know why I am here. They protect me. They know what I want.
It's like it's family. I think was this the question?
To do for the club. They know.
This was the board, actually. Sorry. How do you? The question was like, how do you feel about who you're working with in the board? Do you feel you've got support? He made that polite comment.
Where we are at this moment, and we knew this moment could happen.
We knew this moment could happen, you know. So again, I spoke about it. It had to be in the risk reward strategy of timing of doing this. That these were the first 3 games. They know when they have to fly, or whatever. They didn't really need to fly anywhere, but you know what I mean. Like, they know when they've got training, cool down days, recovery days, how many training days they'll have. We knew this was a possibility. Now, it's obviously not something you expect to happen, which is why we're all here and feeling the way we feel. But yeah, reasonable people have to think about, what if it goes tits up?
But they know this is the most important. Where do we want to go? So after that, there is bombs, obviously.
But we know the most important is where we want to go. We know there'll be bumps.
Like I said, I would have preferred the opposite, because trust me, when we do this job, when we lose, this is so difficult, so painful, but this is part of the job. But the club, the people within the club, the board, and everyone has been spot on.
You say there's a connection.
Everyone's been spot on. But you can feel that he's not happy with everyone that's in the building. And again, like a bit of the culture element of coming from America. Like America is like even say what you will about, and I've even spoke on it earlier, right? But America, when it comes to professional sports, like they don't mess around, and particularly when they're doing their version of football, they call it soccer. Like, where do they get the blueprints for running a good sports company? You know, baseball, basketball, blah 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 blah. So the two clubs that he's previously worked at have been like, for all intents and purposes, like a performance center type setup, you know. And Celtic really, like, with all due respect to all involved, it's not a performance center situation. You know, it's not a well-oiled machine. It's not an independent institution, a football factory. You know, if I can repurpose that expression. And you can tell he's like, some of these guys shouldn't have a job here. Like,
connection between yourself and the players. When will we see the fruits of that labour on the pitch? When do you think we'll see your style of football that you're trying to implement working and getting results?
I think that if you are honest, you saw already certain things. I think so. Because I think that we have good first half against Earth. We had a good second half against Roma. We are good.
did we have a good second half? When was the good spell in Roma? I've totally forgotten now.
First half against Samuel, but it was not enough. Now, this is only the beginning. This is not enough regarding what we want to do and what I want to do in terms of the big picture. But like I told you, every day I see improvement. I never did a session saying that we struggle at this moment. Step by step, we put everything to connect and to a better performance, consistent performance, I would say.
Wilfried,
so the question was, when will we see you win? Kinda, wasn't it? Doesn't really answer it. I don't mind that. And he's talking about just building the performance up. And I think for him, the best strategy is to be what's the term? We use it all the time. Not process driven. You know, he's just going back to the drills that he knows that works, goes back to just drilling the system, drilling the team, because he knows this is the best squad he's ever had at his disposal. And, you know, we'll say what we will about some of the opposition. I do actually think we'll get to it, I suppose, when we get to the tactics board, but going away to Dundee United, first time, you know, he's played two games at Celtic Park and then at Hampden. Going away to Tannadice, it will be, again, maybe another one of those little culture shock moments, but that pitch, that wee pitch by comparison to everything else we've played on, you know, the gaps that we were leaving against St Mirren, like, they just don't exist in Tannadice. Like, you know, so it might just naturally, just a lot of stuff might just go away. Maybe.
There's a lot of criticism of the fact that you immediately introduced your formation, your style of play straight away. Do you stand by that decision? Do you now just try to accelerate the process of the players learning that, or do you think, reflect, maybe you step back a wee bit from that?
No, again, if I'm here to not to please myself. I'm here to find a way to help my player to play together, offensively and defensively. So after that, this is totally normal that people criticize me or tell certain things regarding the system or the way I play, because I don't win for the moment. But like I said, I'm going beyond winning. And when we're going to win, I'm going to go beyond winning. Because for me, it's about character, it's about personality, it's about coherence, it's about also the way you want to play offensively and defensively. And there is nothing about the system. This is about the desire to compete every time. And after that, fans or people, again, for sure I want to have all the fans on board with me. But this, I cannot control that. They don't think that I can control is what I do on the pitch. So that's why for me, yes, I know. And I'm asking a lot of questions.
I'm really glad you brought that up. For me, what that means is smashing, you know, because winning, like, the way we could get to, and again, if you look back at the last time we appointed a manager like this, we had a few 6-0 wins in the catalogue or in the bank quite quickly. And, you know, the Columbus Crew team that he took to the championship the year that they did were a very high scoring outfit as well. And when you talk about personality and all that other kind of stuff in that context, you are talking about that drive to excel. So that's what I hear at that point, personally.
To see what I can do better. But when again, it's a bit difficult to say that because for the moment I haven't won. But when we're going to win, it's going to be the same. It will not change for me because my job is to make the team better when we win and also when we lose.
When
you know he's itching for that, like, we beat somebody 2-0, but he still goes through the team and he has like a stinking press conference afterwards, like, oh, I was raging at something, just to back up the bit of the messaging here. Because I do think this is kind of what he's getting at, is like, if I win or lose, I'm going to be the exact same. I'm not going to, you know, so, you know, you guys might think I've got something to prove or I'm on the back foot or whatever, but even if we win, I'm going to be the same. You're not going to see me change. That's kind of what he's given it. Which, you know, again, you've got to be consistent, process over results. I've not really got much of an issue with what's been said here, if I'm honest.
When you say go beyond winning, what do you mean by that?
Oh,
Beyond winning?
So again, I've not got to this part, so...
is, like I said, we all want to win games. Okay, we all want to win games, and I want to win games. Yes, I would like for the players to win games, just to validate what we do. But again, this is not talking about win. What do you have to do to win? And for the moment, we haven't won, so it means that we have certain things that we have to do better. But the way we do it, we are on the good step to maximize our chance to win. So that's why I'm talking about beyond winning. Because the winning part, it's here. We have to win. We know that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now, is it possible to go beyond winning? What do we do to win? Like I said, in the second half, I think that we could have played with more personality. I think that maybe we could have just...
I think the way he's talking about it, it's like, I think in our speak, it wouldn't be beyond winning. It would be what's underneath winning. You know, like, what does it take to get to winning? You know, I think that's kind of the gist of his message.
Adjusted certain things. So the how is important. And with the how, in a better way, we can, the consequence is the win, if we can. So that's why, for me, I want to go beyond winning. So what does it take to win?
Yeah, so he's been in America. He's learned English in America. That's what's happened with that, I think. Because again, here we would say it's... I think that's what it is anyway. It's like, what's underneath winning? Like, how do you... It's not about just focusing on winning and, you know, but it's like, how do you get there? You know, like, we need to make sure we get 5 shots on target, you know, or we need to make sure we don't lose the ball, or we need to make sure we don't give away shot. You know, it'll be stuff like, you know, I'm making very simple examples, you know, but it'll be like the building blocks. You know, you can think about whatever job it is you do. Like, you can kind of think about it as like, I need to achieve something, but it's not really, that's not actually like a thing you can do. It's actually like made up of 5 things you need to do, like phone this person, produce this, print that, send that, blah, 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 you know. So rather than focusing on, oh, I hope that's all right, it's like, you need to make sure that email's sent early, you need to make sure that's done, blah, 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 you know. So I think that's where he's coming from.
Do you understand what I mean? This is my explanation for that.
So you've obviously, the games continue. You're gaming Wednesday, Saturday. There's very little time on the training pitch. How do you accelerate that process of the players totally understanding?
So difficult, because again, we played the final, and yes, we lost the final.
Yeah, there is a lot of repetitive questioning. I did like the kind of push on, what do you mean you've got nothing to prove? I did like that. I need to wind this back a second because I got distracted. Many Quinnies have been in and out of the room tonight.
Beyond winning. So what does it take to win? Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
This is my explanation for that.
So you've obviously, the games continue. You're gaming Wednesday, Saturday. There's very little time on the training pitch. How do you accelerate that process of the players totally understanding?
So difficult, because again, we played the final, and yes, we lost the final, and so sad for that, so disappointed for that. But at the same time, they deserve to play the final. So it means that we are 2 games behind everyone. And I would have preferred to have maybe more time. Not maybe, I would have preferred to have more time to have a normal week to train. Because when I talk to the players, I have to do only videos. But as you know, there is people that are visual, they have to see. There are people that are auditive, they have to listen. But there are people that we have to move them on the pitch. And for the moment, I don't have the time for that. It's a fact. And again, this is not an excuse because I knew that before. But my point is, it's a fact.
Yeah, for me, this is the difference between a reason and an excuse. You know, the reason he's not got into all the players is because he's only had 3 chances to do it or whatever. It's not, you know, so I can get behind that to an extent. You know, it's hard to argue with what you're saying.
And as a coach, we need time, but at the same time, we know that we don't have time. So that's why for me, it's new, but I know what to do. And I can tell you that every day there is an improvement. You are not able to see it because you are not with us. But now I cannot talk too much because results are important. And for the moment, I have nothing. But I know that it will come.
Well, did you mention that you would have preferred a little bit more time to try and get your ideas across and your new style of play with the players? With the benefit of hindsight, given how the first 3 games have gone, is there any part of you that's got a little bit of regret about taking the job at the
time? No, understand me well. When I said more time, because he asked me a clear question regarding we play every 3 days. So I'm talking about this.
I understand that, but I mean, if you were to delay coming here,
no, because I am a.
He's like, don't try and say I'm making excuses. I quite like that.
How can I say that in English? Life, it's about moments. And it was the moment to come. So I decided to come because everybody wanted me to come and me also, I wanted to come here. So that's why now it's easy to talk about if I would have done something different. If I did it at this moment, it's because it was the best way to do it. So I don't think about this. And I'm happy to be here. And again, you're going to think that I'm crazy, but I'm embracing this adversity because I know that I'm getting better. And again, I would have preferred to avoid it, but life is like that. And I knew that this possibility could come. So again, be on the pitch, be good, be coherent, be what you need to do to help the team to win, be better, and so on. And after that, we'll see.
Wilfried, how comfortable do you think the players are in terms of trying to play the style of football that you want them to, both on the training pitch and then taking it to a match?
First of all, this is not rocket science, what I'm saying in terms of football, because I have the feeling that my style of play, this is something that this is, I don't know. No, I am a coach with just ideas, and they did it before. I just asking my players to play with few nuances, but I don't try to invent football, just to be clear. With the way we defend, we defend. This is the same principle. This is the same concept. Now, the back 5 that I play with. So when a team play with a back 4, okay? So when the opposite team play with the front 5, it's a 5v4, correct? Yeah. Who do you think will come back? He will come back to create a 5v5. The winger. Okay? So me, I have already a winger on this position. And the idea is when the ball is up, you have to jump for the ball. So we play with the back 4. This is not a back 5. So the system is useless to talk about this. This is
let's finish what you're saying.
Useless. Because again, the idea is when we play with a back 4 and the opposition play with 6 players between the line, most of the time players has to come back to create a 6v6. Okay? Me, I don't ask my players to come back. I ask them to attack because they are already in position. So that's why for me, now it's about profile. It's about trying to speed up the process a bit to know the player a little bit better. I know
we have said on the channel he clearly hasn't got a grasp of the players yet. Good to see he admits it.
Player, but now the context, how to cope with pressure. Because again, I like to be here because I told them, It's unbelievable to play for this club and in front of this crowd. Why?
Yeah.
Because when we connect 3, 4, 5 passes and we attack the box, they are so happy.
Yeah.
And this is my football. And when we lose the ball and we try to win the ball back and we make tackles, they do the same.
Yeah.
And this is my football too. So now is when things doesn't go the way we want, is it possible to keep going? And this is this little gap that I try to convince my player to face this adversity. Because I believe with the standard of this club, we need this kind of player to play with personality. And this is not easy to be a player. This is not easy to play at home because it can be really good. But when things doesn't go the way we want, you have to be, I'm going to stay polite, but really strong to cope with that. So my job is to help them to be good on that. They know how to play football. This is just to change certain things, but I can see every day good stuff. So that's why I am really eager to see what next, the game coming, and the next game coming, and so on and so on and so on, to be able to reverse this kind of situation. Because I know that they want to do well, but now we need to be more consistent.
Okay.
Can I?
Okay. Just injury wise.
Oh, there's only I'll hear the injury news thing and then we'll jump back to about 60 minutes. He mentions something about defending I want to hear again.
Is Kelechi going to be out for a while? How's Anthony Ralston?
No, Alson is okay. And but Kelly is going to be out.
Is it hamstring?
I'm
We know how
sure,
long?
but I don't know yet for the moment. I don't know the timeline for the moment. But he won't be available for tomorrow.
It was like 16.
Back 4. This is not a back 5. So the system is useless to talk about this. This is useless. Because again, the idea is when we play with a back 4 and the opposition play with 6 players between the line, most of the time players has to come back to create a 6v6. Okay? Me, I don't ask my players to come back. I ask them to attack.
This wee bit kind of lost me too. If they have 6 between the lines,
because they are already in position. So that's why for me, now it's about profile. It's about trying to speed up the process a bit to know the player a little bit better. I know the player, but now the context, how to cope with pressure. Because again, I like to be here because I told them, it's unbelievable to play for this club and in front of this crowd. Why? Because...
Yeah, I like that a little bit there, but let's go back. It was something about defending.
Okay? So when the opposite team play with the front 5, I'm just asking my players to play with few nuances.
Do you think the players are, in terms of trying to
that's bit.
play the style of football like you want them to, both on the training pitch and then taking it to a match?
First of all, this is not rocket science, what I'm saying in terms of football, because I have the feeling that...
Yeah, I think the last little bit that I got lost on is it's not clearly communicated, I would agree. I think the chat would agree with me there too.
My style of play, this is something that this is... I don't know. No, I am a coach with just ideas, and they did it before. I just asking my players to play with few nuances, but I don't try to invent football. Just to be clear, with the way we defend, this is the same principle. This is...
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to hear again. The way we defend, we defend. Is he standing up for the defence how it's been set up? If that's what he's doing there, I don't like that. But if that's just a general conversation on like his philosophy of defending or whatever, then fine, whatever. I guess that's us finished with it. The chat's kind of flying away. I don't think there's major takeaways. It is just seeing him presented as him. The question, basically 18 minutes of fight for your life, Wilfried. You know, squirm in front of us. And, you know, I guess the mission for him is not to buckle, not to do anything ridiculous, say anything stupid, and try and, you know, try and restore some of your, like, public credibility, maybe. Let's see what you guys are saying before we move on quickly. Sounds like when the team is OOP, out of possession, he wants the players behind the ball so they can press. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, rocket science. He did say it's not rocket science. Like, water is wet. Yeah, I think there's a bit of that too, Brian. I do. So I think, like, at this level, we kind of mentioned it. Oh no, it's on the collab that'll be out tomorrow, right? But I don't think the players are confused by the system, right? But see what the, like, play 3 at the back, play 3-4-3, whatever, because they are definitely, their football players are definitely, like, got the ability to play that against, like, an inferior opposition, right? Where the gradient on how inferior they need to be gets to that kind of sweet spot is the problem that we've got right now. Because when you come up, at some point of a quality level of opposition, it's not just about being good at the system or even just knowing, like, oh, I'm left wing back, so I'm kind of left back, but I'm kind of left winger or anything like that. But it's kind of the detail, like, at the top end, like the top level, like for, like, the level I coached at, like, kind of part-time amateur football, you've got no idea who you're up against every weekend. Like, you've got no idea, really, for all intents and purposes, who you're playing against, compared to, the Premier League is, of course, the complete example. But even at this level, where there's hours of footage of every player, never mind every team and every game and whatever. So it's more about using the system to that level of efficiency is kind of the problem. And that's where the detail, I think, comes too much for them. But from what he's saying in this press conference, it does, I hope he is backing this up. And it's not like us, where he's saying, I'm making this really simple, but then he's talking about a 6 in between the lines. But we would need to come back to do 6v6, but we're not. We're going to stay attacking. So we're going to do 4v6. If it's like that, then it's not rocket science, but it's definitely the most common expression, I think, in the chat is word salad or something to that effect. And sadly, I think if that is kind of this could just be the press room. This could just be the press conference, and maybe some of the, without a visual aid and just kind of flippantly coming back at the repeated, like, squirm in front of us Wilfried questions he's getting. He's maybe not quite as quick to fire with the kind of off the cuff examples. So he said Ralston was fine. That's good to hear. This is the squad that we've got coming into the game tomorrow night. So if Ralston's fit and available, I would pretty much, I've put Inamura back into the conversation. I'm sure you guys will all want to talk about Sinisalo to some extent as well. But I think it will be hard to imagine the back 3 and probably by extension then Tierney into the back 4, as I guess as he's kind of referring to it as, and we should recognise it as being, will probably stay the same for tomorrow. But we haven't seen Murray. I suppose he must be injured. Iheanacho's obviously now confirmed as not being available. So it's kind of slim pickings in a lot of ways, isn't it? Could we get, see if Murray is injured, why is Inamura not getting onto the bench? Because if Donovan's going to be on the bench and we start Yang, now that Tannadice and Balikwisha are away, onto the right wing, as I guess they were going to think of this position as, then we kind of need somebody like Inamura on the bench, I think, to just give us a defender and even just give him a try, man. Especially if we do get a good performance in this game, if we do get ahead, if we do somehow gained a good degree of control in the game, you could even just get him into the deep end, do a bit of swimming, see how he gets on. So yeah, I would like to see that. I think really where the whole conversation does come is this area here. All of these guys. Who plays in front? There's a lot to be said about them all. I think, look, McKeown, there was chat going around that McKeown's been told he's going to be a left wing back. Like, he is now going to be the backup to Tierney for the time being. I kind of hope that's not the case after what we've seen at the weekend. And again, at Tannadice, the problem with like Forrest and McKeown, that the problem you have with them in a cup final at Hampden, you do not have at Tannadice. So maybe not totally writing it off just yet, but I think I've seen enough to be worried. Let's put it like that. And with Johnny Kenny doing the press, and he kind of openly speaks about gaining an opportunity now that Iheanacho's out, without, like, he says one comment that's kind of definitive, and then he makes another comment later on, which is like, need to do everything, and who knows if I get a chance, I'll take it, kind of thing. Oh yeah, actually, I did see that. That a bidding war has kicked off in Japan for Hayato Indamura, who's going to go on loan to is it Tokyo FC in Tokyo. Tokyo normally do very good with young Japanese players. Now, Celtic, if you are listening to this, you loan him back to Japan. And if you give them a buy clause, it has to be tasty. Because I don't know. The thing with somebody like Inamura is you could easily sell him to Belgium. Like Belgium teams will want him, and you don't want him going back to Japan for basically what we spent on him, probably, which is, I'm sure, what the negotiations will probably have began at, knowing the way Celtic have done business recently. But if he has a good year at a decent team, they have a decent year next year, like selling him into a Belgium team will be dead easy. So this is a wee footnote if anyone's listening. But yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, we're certainly not going to see Hayato Indamura, sadly. So yeah, defence probably picks itself. Donovan's the only sub on the bench. We've got to have a plan B for Tierney. And like, how does Donovan get into the game? It's probably a thing that kind of bounces off itself. Now, Hugh Keevans and the Super Scoreboard gang were making fun of Forrest in midfield, right? And I get that, but you are also kind of showing your age a bit, Shug, with that kind of chat, because honestly, like, for Forrest's like lack of sprinting power, this position is really good for Forrest. Forrest has got a great range of passing and very good close control, generally a very good decision maker, and he can beat a man, which is lovely. And you see we cheeky lofted balls in for his pal Dyson, or maybe a forward breaking the lines or something. You know, for the minutes that Forrest will get under Wilfried Nancy, I don't want him playing out here. Maybe at Tannadice you can get away with it. Again, I'll say that, but again, I don't mind that. And it's not really midfield. He's kind of up front, you know. And again, we've seen that. Look at the footage from the St Mirren game first half, where it was like a proper three of a front line. So if Kenny's going to start, I could see him keeping Dyson in here. I don't think Forrest starts, obviously. It'll be Hatate again, alongside Engels McGregor. But then when you kind of zoom in extra, like if Dyson's not going to play up front, he comes into the equation here. But that kind of is the either-or situation that we're playing with here, isn't it? So if we play Dyson up front, Kenny did come off the bench to play in this position. I forget who it was against now. Was it Hearts? So it's not impossible that would be the case. McKibben's featured a bit for Nancy quite consistently. Negren, I'm not sure if he has played for Nancy. Oh, he has. It just wasn't the final he played. Fair enough. Started both games. Wow. How did I miss that? Told you guys I've been suffering my sore head today. So yeah, I suppose Negren's been starting a bit. That makes a lot of sense. Dare he not start Dyson? I think Dyson looked a bit more lively in the cup final, and there's even comments coming out today saying that he's open now to staying until after the World Cup. And I think that's Dyson looking after Dyson, because moving mid-season, he'll know what potential offers are open to him, and he doesn't want to be Kyogo. You know, he's seen that life. He's seen the move to Rennes. So I think that's Dyson looking after Dyson. I don't mind it, really, to be honest with you, but if we get an offer in, club comes first, we're accepting it, you're moving on. But like, if you're happy to stay, if we don't get a good offer, or, you know, whatever, World Cup should only increase his value. The season we're having probably hasn't done much for his transfer value after last year, you know. Yeah, Big Bogeyman is on the move. I'm not sure if his move has been done yet. It would very much suit the system, but it doesn't give you the kind of, I don't know if it gives you that connection, that kind of pace that we're missing, but we'll give you a lot of physicality. We'll fill that kind of Tom Rogic mold. Yeah. So, but I think Bernardo, McKibben are definitely in the conversation here. I do think Kenny is going to start, and if Kenny does start in this position, or did Kenny maybe draw the short straw to get media duties ahead of this weekend's match? I'm not too sure, because it was a very short player press conference. It was like 9 minutes long. Normally they're like 15 or so. I think the manager's one there was 20, 18, something like that. But yeah, it'll be very interesting, because there's no way we cannot concede the first goal again. We have to score the first goal here. You know, like, I wouldn't be, somebody said about Dyson playing out here, I wouldn't be against that, but you know, the dinosaurs, not that it matters, as Wilfried Nancy's already on record as saying he doesn't listen to the radio or read the papers or any of that nonsense, but if you play Dyson out here, like it's potentially a morale thing. Now, Dyson probably should want to play out here because that's kind of the job he's auditioning for Japan. So he should be kind of up for doing that. So I would hope there would be nothing from his end on in terms of friction or resistance. But this role also is very good for Dyson, I think, because Dyson, as we know, has the ability to score goals, does score goals, can score goals, but isn't the arrowhead man. Like, he's had too many chances he's let us down in, where we should all recognise that. And do you know what, by the way? I know the guys in Denmark who we signed Negren from said that they tried him centre forward and it didn't work, and not a too dissimilar system either, I hasten to add. But see for what Dyson doesn't give us in this position, and see for almost everything that Iheanacho gave us in this position, you could almost just about imagine Negren could give you. We know he's not got blistering pace. We know he's not. I think he's got good passing. I think he's got very good, like, on the pitch IQ. His execution does lack at times, but I think that's a lot of the part of the time because he has pillar to post, and this is a guy that just wants to live in the final third. And see if you just let him be up here and he's got some press support around him. I can see that working really well. Negren wants to be in the final third. Put him there and then put players around him. Don't have him doing two jobs in one. It doesn't seem to be coping well with that. His best job was under Rodgers, and it was just, you're starting here in a midfield three and you are an attacking midfielder. You're going to go forward and play with a front three. And he got on the end of stuff and he made stuff happen for other people. It wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but people were happy with the output. And the outputs went through Martin O'Neill. Obviously, I know he scored off the bench against Feyenoord, but the appearances so far with Nancy, it's kind of the system as well, don't get me wrong. But with Iheanacho being out, why not stick Negren up there, Yeah. I think Maeda needs a lot of support. Yeah, so I can't remember where it was, but some Nordisland fans somewhere either appeared on a Celtic podcast or did a Twitter post or did something, but they said something where, or it might even been like a Nordisland post that I'd maybe unearthed it. I don't know, but I've definitely seen Nordisland fans speak to the fact that they tried him up there and it didn't work. Can't precisely remember the systems and whatever. He's a final third guy, isn't he? It didn't last long, obviously, and he's not. No one else has tried him up there. Iheanacho's not been fit for a while. This isn't new, so yeah, he can kind of just get bounced a bit, can't he? Why not try him up here? Because again, like Negren, I would totally back Negren to be playing balls into runners. Like, Negren's got that. I would also, if he gets 1v1, any of the 1v1s Dyson's had, now Negren has missed as many sitters as anyone, right? But I'm giving them to Negren over Dyson. Like, if I've got the chance, we've got a 1v1 with the keeper, Negren or Dyson, I'm picking Negren. I disagree. I don't think he's amazing. I'm not saying he's the best thing in the world. He's going to win the Ballon d'Or or anything, but I don't think he's bad. I think he can be in the Celtic best 11. Yeah, you make good points, guys. You make good points. He just wants to be in the final third, man, doesn't he? He just wants to be in the final third. And even if you think about the little moments where he has looked good on the wing, he's just in the final third going forward, either playing somebody in. He doesn't really like to seem to play like Yang in. That's a kind of a toxic connection. I would say him and Yang doesn't ever seem to play Yang in. But yeah, he just wants to go forward and attack. It's kind of what his bag is. Always wants the ball, always happy to shoot, always sees the pass to somebody else. Execution is probably the word again, isn't it? And it's frequency again, like, yeah. So I think it is going to be Quinny that starts. I don't think Negren starts because of some of the stuff you guys are talking about, pace and all the rest of it. I do think Hatate and Dyson looked really good in and behind Iheanacho. I don't think it worked well with Quinny, and I think that's probably what he's going to go for, sadly. I would really like to see it be Negren for something a little bit different. I wouldn't, against Dundee United at Tannadice, I wouldn't mind him going back to this. I do think part of the problem the first time he played it was Negren and Rio were this way around, and we had that kind of two wrong ends of the magnet going together with Hatate and Engels. But now that we've kind of sussed it, with Hatate doing a really good shift on this side of the pitch in the final, I felt, for a spell, then you bring Negren into this position now, and you might just get that balance in that midfield four that we've not quite had, where they now start to play off each other's strengths, so weaknesses become less important, things start to connect a bit more, and then Dyson's energy and running, maybe he's still getting a few of those 1v1s and whatever, but like Nancy said, we even heard McGregor and a few other players talk about it. It's like an attacking five, and as we've already seen with the matches we've played, because we do dominate the ball so much, McGregor and or Engels are always quite closely in pursuit, never mind one of the bloody centre-backs going forward and attacking. So Dyson just being that real threat, he puts fear into people, he takes markers with him, it causes problems. And then the likes of Negren, if you then get players feeding off that, it might work. It might work. I'm not going to rule it out. It'll be interesting to see, but I think it kind of does all hinge on whether he starts Quinny or not, essentially. Because I think the rest of the team kind of falls into place. He does need a win. He needs to play his best team from the off. And I think it's probably going to look like this come kickoff. We're going to be playing against Dundee United, and this is the last team that they played in the league. This is where the site pulls the data from. So a 4-3-3. There might be a bit of a change in personnel. And as you know, with Jim Goodwin is as much as Derek McInnes has that kind of rap in Scottish football, but Jim Goodwin is as defensive as they come, like Jim Goodwin, although I don't know, somehow he's got this mad reputation for being like a kind of modernish coach. I don't know if it's just because he's like a little kind of Irish Pierce Brosnan, James Bond kind of lookalike type guy. But whenever we've played any of his teams, and I include St Mirren in that, they are amongst the most negative that we have played against, like really negative. They have but they've done it with a purpose, where when the ball breaks for them, they will throw, like Nancy said, the attack was 6. Like you could maybe see Dundee United, maybe not quite 6, but maybe as many as 5, depending on area of the pitch, but certainly 3 or 4 is something they'll be happy to do. Whereas like other negative teams, let's say like a Livingston, maybe only would attack ever with like a 2, maybe a 3. Ross County, whoever you want to think of, but Dundee United maybe, or the old Jim Goodwin St Mirren, maybe there's a 4th man, a 3rd man guaranteed that would kind of join in there. But it's going to be deep, it's going to be narrow. And I think when you said it as well, yeah, it might even be a bit more of the 5-3-2 rather than the 5-4-1 where there's 2 guys in here just being a bit more of a bother in the centre area, pushing us out wide, rather than it being the kind of, this kind of system where one guy gets suicide mission. Yeah, I could see that. Be a bit more of a 3. Because again, if you think about these guys running into these corners, not really spoke about the keeper yet, sorry. But I think if he's going to change the keeper, this is the game to do it. I don't think if he doesn't change unless he can't change for Aberdeen, I don't think. What I mean? He's got that kind of Irish voice. He's got the silver hair, silver beard's always well kept, fancies himself, always got a designer jacket on. You know what I mean? Because he looks like that and he's got the accent going and all that, people just think, oh yeah, he's like a modern guy. He's like a cool manager. That's what I mean. Gives off that vibe to people. But when you actually watch his teams most of the time, like they've been minging against us. Anyway, that's all I can really speak to. I think so. And again, I was listening to, by the way, big fan of Charlie Mulgrew's podcast that just came out with him and Kevin Thompson. I was about to credit them with it. It might not have been them. It might have been Clyde, but somebody was talking about how it's ridiculous that you're playing Dyson Maeda in this position here. And I get that he's not, I think it might have been Charlie and Kevin, but I get that he's not a 10, right? But you've seen it in the final and you'll see it with Jota when he comes into this shape. But these positions have freedom to take the space that they want, so it's Dyson here. You've seen it in the final where he bursts into these pockets because Tierney's not doing it, not just because it's Tierney, but the guy's also left wing back. That space is his to invade, to attack into. And, that gives really tricky players like Jota some really fun options where he can start in here, take the ball to feet, play with his pals, or if the ball goes long, he can break into space, take somebody with him and open up opportunities for other things to happen thereafter. So, yeah, I think Jota fits in right behind the striker. No problem at all. No problem at all. And yeah, I think this is the game. If you're going to change it, you change it now. for this one. To finish this with a score prediction. It's going to be difficult. I think if this is the team that we line up with, I could see us. I've still got my headphones on. I thought something felt weird. I could see us scoring a goal or two. My main question is, do we concede or not? I don't think we concede more than one to Dundee United, I think. Because for the much of the defensive frailties that we have, I do think Tannadice, not Hampden, not a final. I just think some of those dynamics don't resurface personally. The second half is what I'm worried about. Yeah, I don't think we concede more than one. I think Celtic win this 2-1. Now, in the comment section, we're live and loud doing this, but after we've been live, the comment section opens up. In the comment section, drop down your score predictions, your man of the match shouts, and what you think about the game itself, how it will pan out. And if we do win, let's imagine even it's a tight one, it's a 2-1. Will you be happy with that? Is that good enough? Is that progress? Do we need it to be like with a -1 handicap to be happy? Perhaps, I don't know. Leave your comments, your predictions, your thoughts, your feelings, everything in the comment section. To everyone that's tuned in to all the content recently, thank you for all your support. We'll have a special collab out tomorrow. Be sure to catch the beginning of the stream. We do a bit of a setup to everything that's coming out on the channel in the next couple of days. Enjoy the game tomorrow night. If you're traveling to it, travel safe. Hail, hail. And Mo the hoops.